Welcome, Freddie O'Brien.
Welcome to the O'Brien Show. My name is Freddie O'Brien, and today is our special Shakespeare edition. Our guests today will be Queen Elizabeth, Father Lawrence, and Romeo. They will be here to talk about their life and times and their story. Now, let me introduce Queen Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Welcome to the show, Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
So I hear you were a big fan of the theater. Did you ever watch a production?
Oh, yes, I did. I just love the theater. I went to watch many shows in my time. Some people started going that were considered to have bad character. So I decided not to go anymore.
Well, aside from that, did you enjoy the works of William Shakespeare?
I enjoyed many Shakespeare productions. He had the ability to place words and actions that made his work completely outstanding. My favorites of his Shakespeare's work was Hamlet and, of course, the tragedy Romeo and Juliet. Those were the plays that made me love the theater the way I did.
That is fascinating. But did you ever speak to the Shakespeare personally? And when you did, what did you talk about?
Sadly, I met Shakespeare for business purposes. We talked a few times about me viewing special plays and about me supporting some of his work. We also had some chats about the theater.
So what were your thoughts on the play Romeo and Juliet?
To me, the story of Romeo and Juliet wasn't a play, it was real life. It spoke to me as if the play was inside my heart and soul. The passion, the romance, the thrills, Mr. William made it all come to life. I even talked to him about me having special private screenings of the productions.
Well, thank you for your touching words. We are now going to our first commercial break, but when we return, we will have a new guest. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Fred.
Hello, what would you guys like to order?
I'd like the chicken noodle soup, and can I get a garlic bread on the side?
Yes, you can. And what would you like?
I would also like chicken noodle soup.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Yeah, garlic bread. Sounds good. I wonder what it's like here.
Dad, you're gonna split it with me, right?
No.
Yes, you
It's
are.
too good. Why don't you get your own? It's very cheap.
I'm gonna just jack
It tastes good. No.
I'll steal it.
No, it's mine.
I'm paying half of this.
Well, it's your half. It's chicken noodle soup. I get the garlic bread.
Why didn't you split it in half? How many pieces are there?
Why didn't you just get the garlic bread with me? Huh?
Here's your guys' soup.
There's a rat in my soup.
What the hell?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Applebee's is awesome. The service is great and the food is yummy.
Welcome back. We just had a chat with the lovely Queen Elizabeth, but now we have a new guest. He was essential to the play Romeo and Juliet and the mastermind behind the consequential plot. Please welcome Father Lawrence. Father Lawrence, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Freddie. It's my pleasure to tell my part in the Romeo and Juliet story.
So, Father, what was your relationship with Romeo?
We were very good friends. When he was a young boy, I looked out for him and made sure he was safe. I always looked out for the best he could get.
So, what was your reaction when Romeo came for help?
Oh, it was like many times before. I was just looking out for Romeo and making sure he made proper decisions. And when I saw love like that, I just couldn't sit back and watch their parents tear them apart, so I just had to do something.
That is pretty gracious of you.
Thank you.
Did you support Romeo's decision about leaving his girlfriend and hooking up with Juliet?
As long as Romeo was happy, I couldn't tear him apart of anything he loved. Though I was a bit worried that Romeo might be careless with his relationship with Juliet and that his father would find out. If it happened, the feud between Romeo and Capulet might have been even got as bad as a war. But I knew Romeo was fairly responsible in that type of situation, so I always thought the relationship would work out, and with that I brewed the potion that would help them.
The potion you gave Juliet so she would sleep, was there ever a point you thought it would not work or actually kill her?
To be honest, I was pretty sure the potion would work, but I was not overall sure. I was just hoping that their love would get them through anything that was thrown at them.
Well, that's a pretty good statement. Well, we were all shocked when we heard they did not survive. What was your reaction to the death of Romeo and Juliet?
I was gravely unhappy to hear the death of Romeo and Juliet. At first I thought it was my poison that killed them, but when the prince came to have a chat with me, he told me that they committed suicide. With this news, it struck a blow to my heart. To see a love like that destroyed bothered me for days.
If there was anything you could have changed, what would that be?
The only thing I could say is that I wouldn't have given them the poison in the first place.
Thank you, Father Lawrence. It's time for a second commercial break, but when we return, we'll have a new guest. That should really change your mind and your perspective on Romeo and Juliet.
And the Bible. Bible, read it. Read it. Read it right now.
Get off my show right now.
I lay down Black Flame Fire Dragon in defense mode. I lay down Mangaroo in attack mode. Mangaroo attack his Blandland Dragon. It's in the graveyard, dumbo. I lay down Summon Skull in attack mode. I lay down Electric Lizard in attack mode.
You guys are playing Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yes.
Pokemon's where it's at. Bunch of losers.
Hey, that's not nice.
That's right.
Pokemon's where it's at. Pokemon's for losers, eh?
We are back. Before the break, we were talking with Father Lawrence. Now, our guest is here to tell us his role in the story. We revived him so he could join us today. Please welcome Romeo! Woo! Sexy beast! Woo! Romeo, it's an honor to have you on my show.
Well, I'm just lucky to be here, Freddy.
Very good. So to the beginning, what were your parents' plans for you?
Well, for starters, they mostly did things that would benefit me, of course, or benefit themselves, such as introducing me to my first girlfriend. A plan for me to get married and have a very good Montague family.
Well, with that being said, what were you thinking when you first met Juliet?
Well, when I first saw Juliet, my mind just restarted. All I could think of was the way she walked and the way she talked. I was just mesmerized, and at that moment I knew that she was my true love.
When you and Juliet were trying to hide your love, and then later on your marriage, what was going on in your minds during that time?
Well, our main priority was just to keep it hidden from our parents, because if they ever found out, we would not only be separated but possibly executed for our disrespect of our own families.
Now, with Tybalt on your case throughout your whole time with Juliet, what were you doing to get him on your side?
Well, I couldn't do much at all, Freddy. It was like he hated me to my very soul. Even when I told him that I was related to him, he still didn't stop. And then I had to kill him. It was the only way I could live and still see my Juliet.
What were your thoughts when you saw what looked like a dead Juliet in the tomb?
Well, I felt like my whole world it just went to a steaming halt, Freddy. And with that, I couldn't live on without her, so I drank some real poison.
Tragic, tragic, tragic. One last question for you, Romeo. Now, I know Juliet was your true love, but do you ever regret falling in love with her, which eventually led to the end of both your lives?
I would never take away the few months that I had with Juliet, though I would have loved it much more if our plan worked and we had escaped and lived happily ever after. But each time with Juliet made me feel as though I would never live again. I would never trade anything for that.
Thank you, Romeo. Well, you heard from all three of them yourselves. We discussed what it was like back in those times and the story of Romeo and Juliet from 2 point of views. I hope you enjoyed our discussion tonight, and I hope this may have answered some of your questions. This is Freddie O'Brien saying good night, everybody.
Good night.